Welcome to Reddit Asks Real Estate. We're the real estate agents in real estate, and today we'll be offering advice and answers to random questions on r/real estate. And so, hopping into this, my name is Josiah Holstein. I'm a real estate agent slash realtor here in the Southwest Missouri area. Joining me is
My name is Lauren Leonard. I'm a real estate broker with Realty One Group, and I have been a broker since 2000 and been in the business since 1996. And this is Olive. Yeah, she's the office dog, so she's got to be wherever I'm at.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen her not with you, unless it's like specifically somewhere that she can be.
Right, right.
You know, there's been a handful of events, but that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, jumping right into this, we got ourselves a good one.
Oh no.
What would you do if you heard your agent saying this to a buyer on camera? All right. Our open house was yesterday. One party showed up. Buyers left the house after they were done seeing it. Buyer's agent stayed behind to talk to our agent. He was talking to her about his client's listing and mentioned their listing price. Our agent, I'm quite sure we're going to be knocking this one down. The buyer's agent said, yeah, what is this one listed for? Our agent said, the price of our house. Buyer's agent, for sure. Our agent, yeah, I don't want to say they're difficult clients, but they're notices the camera. Oh, what would you do if this was your house and your agent? For context, our agents, they're a team of two, helped us price their house, and I got a text from the second agent after with a screenshot of the buyer's feedback that the price was too high, and then they told me they thought the house was the right price, but they'll look into comps again. So from what I'm getting at this is that the buyer's agent came in and said, the listing agent, our agent said they're going to be knocking the price down on this one for sure. Buyer's agent asked what the price was. The listing agent, our agent, said the price of the home. Buyer's agent said, oh yeah. Their agent said that they're not difficult clients, but then noticed the camera saying, ow.
Oh my gosh. So lots of people these days have cameras in their home. And so as a buyer's agent, when I go in with my own clients, I always counsel them right up front. Mind what you say, mind what you do, because you could be on camera.
Yeah.
And you're on somebody else's turf, so they're perfectly legally sound in watching you and watching the entire visit if they want. Is it advisable? No, it's not advisable. I tell, when we're on the selling side, I tell them, hey, I know that you've got cameras in here. I'm going to highly, highly suggest that you refrain from watching and listening in.
Yeah.
But I think that they probably do the majority of the time. I really do. Yeah.
I mean, if I can do a little bit of snooping just to see what someone's
Right,
saying about
right.
my house.
Well, I mean, a lot of times I'll get the text while a showing is happening live time, and they say, she just said she loves the house. We've got this one. And I'm like, well, if they've got a savvy agent, they're still going to go through the bargaining process. Now, we may have the upper hand now because we know that they love the house, but they're still going to come in at what they're going to come in.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they're going to follow, hopefully, their agent's advice. But in this scenario here, you have an agent who gave up his seller's bargaining position from the very beginning by sharing with the buyer's agent, oh, they're definitely going to come down on this. And I'm not saying that they're a difficult bunch, and you know that that's going to be accentuated by, if you got to finish it, he probably would have said, they're not difficult, but man, these people are like running me through the ringer or whatever. And that would that would be grounds for firing the agent.
Oh yeah. Immediately. At least I would.
Right. He just failed his or her, whoever it was. They just failed their fiduciary responsibility to protect the interest of the seller. And they should have kept their mouth shut about, that's a professional standards violation in so many different levels. They compromised the seller. and their position, they also disparaged the seller to the buyer's agent. Lots of things going on there. So I'm surprised that in this scenario, if there was a follow up, if this was what's the podcast Smosh or something like that,
Yeah.
or am I the whole
Yes.
I think in this scenario there, the feedback would be that the guy should have been fired and a ethics complaint made against him.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
At least I would be. I
Yeah,
would be
for
on
sure.
that so fast.
Yeah.
Now there is some edits here and some follow up.
Oh, great! There, so it is like Smosh. Here we go.
Yes, there is. Some of these don't though, so it's just open ended.
Okay.
Now, they reached out to their mortgage loan broker to help us out with this. He's been a family friend since I was little. Helped us buy our first two houses, and I can trust him 100% completely. He's reviewing our contract and going to help us with the next steps of getting out of it. Yes, I am aware that the pricing lower needs to be top of mind when we come back on market. Yes, I am doing deep reflections to assess where I may have been difficult. He's even got this person second guessing themselves now. I'm sure people are combing through my post history, so I'll save you the snooping. I have a schizophrenic disorder, and interactions with people that I do not know are extremely difficult. Be sure I am doing no small amount of overanalyzing and trying to figure out what I did wrong. I'm officially of the position that having an extremely visible, lit up, noisy doorbell camera that I told my agents about and reviewing that footage is not illegal. I have no other cameras except the camera that I left over my horse's stall so that I can check in on her while I was gone for the weekend. And I do review that footage often. Everyone is welcome to their opinion on the acceptability of reviewing the doorbell camera footage. Edit 2. The listing contract has been officially terminated.
Oh, yeah.
Golf claps. The broker profusely apologized and did not give me any trouble. We will take a short break and relist with a different agent. He's my next door neighbor as a kid and has helped my parents buy and sell a few houses. So I feel like he's the only person I can trust at this point. Thank you all for your help. And then edit 3, our new realtor feels strongly that we had it at the right price. I even mentioned bringing the price down, and he backed me up and said we need to try it out at that price again. I will say it has been beating down rain literally every day since we listed our house, and our previous realtors did nothing to market the house or open house except post once on their personal Facebook page. Our new realtor will be marketing the heck out of this thing and is even bringing a designer for staging. I feel good about this. This will be my last edit for now. I will make an update post once we sell, and the post has been locked and no new updates.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw that coming, right?
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they got with a new agent and that they're happy with them, and it sounds
Okay.
like he's giving them the service that they deserve. For the sake of posting, maybe TMI. He probably didn't have to tell everybody that he had a disorder of any sort, but I understand he's trying to express maybe a different perspective and being objective about his own behavior. Kudos to
Yeah.
him, but it wasn't necessary. His other agent acted inappropriately, and he needed to make no explanation or no excuses for him under that. So in the end, he did the right thing by switching.
100%. All right. Are you ready for the next one?
I'm ready. Bring it on.
Should I offer to buy my neighbor's house? Okay. My elderly neighbors moved out of state, and now their daughter's trying to sell their home. I haven't spoken to her. I think she may live out of state too, but I have spoken to one of the contractors working on the property. They are putting in new flooring and painting before listing it. We are very interested in buying the home. We love our neighborhood and need an additional bedroom. The market in our area is extremely hot, so we expect to be able to quickly find a buyer for our current home when the time comes. excuse me, I'm thinking about sending them a letter saying how much we love the house and that we are interested in buying it. My thought is the benefit to them would be not having to deal with the hassle of listing and paying a real estate agent fees. We would offer market rate for the house, but admittedly they might get a better offer by listing it because people get in crazy bidding wars here. Is this a dumb idea? Any tips on how to approach it?
You know, when I get these questions, I kind of feel like I'm trying to shoot myself in my own foot here when I give an answer about how to sell a house without an agent, because that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
But I have had it, several times where we'll have a FSBO or something like that, a for sale by owner house, and they'll say, "I don't need an agent," and they're right. Under certain circumstances, you may not need an agent.
No.
You can go to a title company and get a blank contract and things like that. And all is well and good, so long as all is well and good. But what happens when things go wrong?
Yes.
What happens if you buy the house unrepresented and you find out after the fact that there was serious problems with the house? Well, you didn't get advice to get a home inspection, or you didn't get advice about how you might be able to mitigate that and be put in touch with contacts that realtors have on the ready to help you evaluate what would be an appropriate repair, or what would be an appropriate response to ask for a concession, or money in lieu of repair, things of that nature. And I know that some of you out there might be saying, "Lauren, I'm a pretty smart guy, pretty smart person overall. I could figure all that stuff out." And to that I would say, if you think that, you're probably correct. But not everybody is as savvy as you, perhaps. There's a lot of people out there who know the logistics of what's involved to, do an appendectomy. But would you take out your own appendix? Probably not. Do you want the liability of that transaction being solely on you, or is it worth having a professional real estate agent represent you and take on the full responsibility and the full liability of that transaction, to where it's not on you? And you should get expert guidance and advice along the process there. So in this scenario here, he already knows the people. Well, it sounds like maybe they weren't close, right? Because he's like, the daughter's selling it, she might live in a different state, so they know them, but they're not like really close to them. If
Yeah.
I were this particular person, I would reach out to them without a doubt. I would reach out and say, "Hey, I'd love to buy your house. This is the price that I'm interested in at." And if they're like, "No, we're gonna list it," you got to take your lumps on this, right? So he's right. In a hot market, they could probably get a better offer.
Oh yeah.
But it also depends on factors like, is he buying it cash? I didn't hear that in the post.
Yeah.
Is he going to have to use financing? So if he's going to get financing, he really doesn't have much of an advantage over anybody else, other than the fact that he's a neighbor. So if they recognize his name, he may have the good old boy network there, the next door neighbor network, so to speak, and have an edge over others, because maybe they're like, "Oh yeah, he always took good care of his yard. I think he'll take good care of my parents' old place."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the end. But
not only that, he says he's the neighbor, and so there's contingency on this as well. And so he's got to sell his house.
He does have to sell his house, right?
Buy this one.
Right.
So is the elderly couple willing to wait for him to get his house sold,
right,
granted it is a hot market, in order to buy theirs? And so, I mean, those are things that the elderly couple would have to weigh in this option.
Right. Right.
Would it be worth it to even submit them?
It's always worth a try.
Oh yeah.
The worst thing that somebody can say is no, and the surest way not to get something is to not ask for it. So, nothing ventured, nothing gained. But I would have a realtor in your back pocket, because if it does get listed, you want somebody who can move forward and represent you in the most capable way possible.
Yeah.
Because once it's listed, yeah, you can approach that listing agent you want, but you have to understand that the listing agent's job, they have a fiduciary responsibility to the seller to sell it for the highest price possible and the least amount of concessions, right?
Mhm.
So if you don't have somebody in your corner representing you as a buyer, you're at a disadvantage because you're working with someone who is not working for you when you're talking to the listing agent. They're working for the seller. Their
Yeah.
job is to get as much money out of you as possible. They may sound like, oh no, we're going to make sure that you get a really fair deal and everything else like that. And that is possible. I'm not saying it's not. We represent both sides a lot, but as a transaction broker, so our responsibility is as a, to the transaction. And our job is to get a fair deal for everyone. But you know how that is.
It's damn near impossible to have like a completely unbiased opinion on each side.
Right.
Like it's hard to at times.
Right.
I deal with divorce clients all the time, so I have to stay as a neutral third party.
Right.
And
You have to
so,
be the voice of reason sometimes.
yes, and so being able to stop, like you hear things all the time from both sides, like that's not okay, that's not okay, and so you've got to be able to like shut your mouth and focus on the deal at that
Right.
point, and that's hard for a lot of agents to do.
Right. Yeah, so the shortest version of this, yes, make your move, shoot your shot,
Go for it. Might as well.
keep a realtor in your back pocket because you might need them.
Yes, if
So-
you don't have to, don't.
Right.
But back pocket.
Right, exactly. I mean, you deal with divorce clients a lot. I would say don't approach a listing broker without a buyer's agent
Mm-hmm.
because you wouldn't go into a divorce court without representation of your own, right?
Yes.
If they've got an attorney, are you going to use the same attorney?
No.
No, that wouldn't make any sense at all. So make sure that you have an agent in your corner who has a fiduciary responsibility to you.
Yeah, I mean it
Yeah.
feels common sense at that point.
Yeah.
Update.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so we got a good one. Thank you so much to all who weighed in. I'm really trying hard to get in touch with the neighbors now. The contractors say they aren't allowed to pass along my contact info. I've messaged a woman who I think is the daughter on Facebook, but she hasn't viewed it yet. I've tried texting/calling the numbers I can find associated with them online. It appears most are disconnected or old landlines. Not sure what else to try. And this is why we get real estate agents. Because, I mean, we have many of
We got resources.
And jinx.
Yeah.
Fine.
Now I want to know if he was able to buy the house.
I know, right? Hold on, I want to go back through the comments and like find out.
I mean, maybe I want to buy the house. I don't know.
I know.
Depends on where it's at.
Oh, I finally got in touch with the daughter. She said they are fixing up the house to sell it, but don't have a definitive timeline. I told her we'd be open to making a deal as is, and that she could name a selling price, and we might be able to work out a deal. She didn't really bite on it, but said she would let me know when they are ready to sell, probably by the end of the year. Seems weird to me that she wouldn't entertain it. Why spend a bunch of money/time to fix it up if you didn't need to? The house is just sitting empty, but who knows? I'm sure she has her reasons. Maybe they have to sort through the parent stuff, etc. Yeah, this is when you get a real estate agent, because
Yep.
it sounds like the listing agent, the daughter, is doing exactly what she should as a real estate agent and trying to get the best price for the home
Yep.
possible. Waiting till the end of the year until after all the upgrades are done, that way they can sell it at a higher price.
Yep. What's next?
What's next? Okay, sellers have requested a 5 months to close.
Oh.
Alright, seller accepted our as-is offer on a home that belonged to a family member of theirs who passed away a few months ago. They want to go in contract right away, but have to ask for 5 months to keep sorting through personal effects that make sense. And we can accommodate their wishes and timeline. But since it's an as-is offer, I have some concerns about being in contract on an unoccupied home for that long, lest, once in a contract, they let care of things like climate, pest control, and landscaping lapse over the summer. This home is in a hot, humid place. They're also asking for 5% earnest money, which is a large enough amount that we don't want to lose it. I suppose this is a question for our attorney, but curious to hear any advice from members of this subreddit. Thank you.
So, what advice is he actually seeking here? Because I'm not sure I heard the question in there.
Um, he's just seeing if, I guess it's just like, am I an idiot kind of thing for this? Because they put in 5 months to close on this, and they're concerned about
And so this
the
is the seller.
integrity of the home.
This is the seller.
This is the buyer.
This is the buyer. Okay.
This is the buyer. Yeah, they're saying seller accepted our. I'll read it again.
No. You don't have to read it again.
Okay.
But so they seller wants 5% down.
Yes.
They want 5 months to close.
To sort through personal belongings.
Okay. So buyer wants to close anytime.
Yeah.
Seller says we need 5 months.
Yes.
Oh, okay. 5 months to sort through personal belongings.
Yes, and it's going into summer in a humid area, and they're concerned about just like bugs coming in, a lapse of any maintenance on the home at all.
Okay. Yeah, fair concern.
Man.
The worst possible thing that can happen to any dwelling is to go unoccupied for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Little things could happen. Breaker blows and AC doesn't turn on for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You come in there and the paint's peeling off the walls,
Comes a hot box real quick.
Right. So, what are you gonna do in those scenarios? Because by the time you find it, Olive's just gonna go exploring now. By the time you find it, the damage is gonna be done or well on its way.
Oh, yeah.
A leak could get started, right? So what are you gonna do in that scenario? You're gonna find it a day late and $1 short, and the damage is gonna be done. So I would be extremely concerned. This would be a good scenario here. If you're gonna go that long, you need to get with with a good home warranty program that insures the seller as well.
Yeah.
A lot of them will, like a CHUSA I think that's how you said it, CHUSA or a CHOSA, they insure the seller for free.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a fantastic option under this scenario. Put that house under a home warranty to cover some of those possible issues.
Yeah.
But for this guy, if he really, really wants the house and it takes 5 months to get it, make them do the home warranty,
Yeah.
and it should be okay. If they're really that concerned, drive by it yourself.
Oh yeah.
Make sure that, see if you can get periodic access to it.
Mhm.
There's lots of different ways to carve this up.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but I wouldn't let it deter him from buying it.
No.
A good deal's still a good deal.
Here's some of the comments. Ooh, on
Whoa.
top here.
She
5
going
months
that
is
off.
way too long. That's long enough to start sorting, forget about the house, remember to come back and finish sorting, and still end up asking for more time. Honestly, a month, 2 max is more than enough time for weekends only to go through everything. Another comment, it's a huge inconvenience and should be reflected in the offer price. No way to get a full price offer if I have to wait 6 months to move in. That's fair.
But is it?
I don't know.
We don't know what full price is.
That's true.
Maybe full price was a freaking great deal.
That is true. They could have offered it under asking because of those
5
months.
circumstances,
So
right?
we don't know the
So we're kind
entire
of
details.
missing some information here to be able to make that kind of a judgment call. But it's Reddit, so you're getting a whole bunch of people out there who probably don't always know 100%. They're not subject matter experts. We'll just say that.
Keyboard warriors.
Yes.
Keyboard warriors. Yes.
Yes.
And so I think, personally, 5 months is too long.
I think 5 months is a long time. Has it taken me that long to close a house before? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a fair point. I guess anything could happen.
Right. There's always things that could happen.
Okay. This one's asking about repairs. It just says repairs as the title.
Okay.
All right. I'm not sure how to go about this. Purchasing a home and closing coming up in 2 days on a new construction resale property less than a year old. After inspection, we sent a list to the seller about items we wanted fixed, and they signed without hesitation. After asking for updates on repairs and getting none we decided to do in our inspection on the property, the inspector informed us that nothing on our list was completed and took photos and videos which proved true. The seller didn't complete some of the items on the list because they said the warranty company either said it's up to code or didn't need fixing. However, we weren't under the impression or signed anything that repairs were dependent on warranty company. Just wondering how I should navigate this when closing is so near and some items wouldn't be fixed by them.
So there's some other questions that aren't answered on here, such as, are they still within their inspection timeline?
Yeah.
Did they submit the repair request or the inspection notice, whichever they call it in their market, within the allotted time frame? I never once heard anything in here as to whether or not they're being represented by a realtor.
Mhm.
Let's hope that they are. And are they still within their resolution time period?
Yeah.
Now, let's guess that all those things are true and they're well within time frame. If that's the case, then if at the end of the resolution period they are not resolved, they can walk away from the transaction scot-free.
Yeah.
So unless I say scot-free, unless their earnest money was non-refundable.
Yeah.
If that's the case, which with new construction certainly can be almost all the time, then they would lose that money. Regardless of the cause, they would lose that money.
Yeah.
So they can ask for it back, but
No
you can,
guarantee.
yeah, you're not gonna get it.
Some of the comments here. Those sellers are not honest people. Now you have to double check everything, and they have represented about this property. Otherwise, you risk being schnookered.
Schnookered.
Schnookered. How about that?
Lord knows I don't want to be schnookered.
Schnookered. This is why you never ask the sellers to fix anything. Should have just asked for a credit. Okay.
Well, that's can be a valid point.
Yes.
Some people would rather have money instead of the repairs, but it also depends. You know, when people say, "Hey, I would rather have a credit in lieu of the actual repair." So that's a different thing altogether. Because most people think, "Oh, I'm gonna get this check at closing for," if we say there's $6,000 of repairs on this $300,000 house, and I'm gonna get a check at closing for the $6,000. Well, no, that's not how that works. Your purchase price is gonna be reduced now to, instead of $300,000, it's now gonna be $294,000. And so
Yeah.
my question to you is, what would have been better, actually having the repairs done, or having $6,000 less spread out over 30 years, with 7% interest, give or take, depending on what the market is, $7,000 or $6,000 over 30 years? How much is that going to save you?
Like
$15 a month?
Yeah.
I would rather have the repairs.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I would rather have the repairs.
And depending on how the repair or inspection notice is sent, repair order is sent, whatever you may call it, and how it's worded as well. I mean, fixed by qualified professional. Those two
Right.
words are
What are they knocking
beautiful to
off?
have. It's a light over
It's
there.
a light. Ah!
Technical difficulties.
That's what I do for.
I don't know. I'm always one to ask for it to be fixed because I'd rather have it fixed rather than having to deal with it myself. The warranty is neither a building inspector, not a building code official, who have any say. I'd either back out or ask for $20K to be put in escrow to pay for the repairs, assuming the repairs would cost $20K or less, or try to have the escrow near the cost. Fair.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a fun one. How dumb are we being?
Well, if you have to ask.
If you have to ask. My wife, 34, and I, 36, began looking for our first home. We found a move-in ready 1350 square foot, mid-century, 3-bed, 1.5 bath with a large yard, good location, and new appliances, listed for $319K.
Sounds good.
Oddly, the home last sold only 2 months ago for $309,000. The seller claims that she had an unexpected change in life circumstances and never even moved into the home. We put in an offer as is at asking. Despite being on the market for less than 24 hours, the seller received 9 offers and came back asking for our highest slash best.
Mm-hmm.
We put in an escalating offer with a cap of $345,000. And after a bit of back and forth, our offer was accepted at the cap, $345,000. The 5-day clock starts today, and I'm scheduling a home inspection, lead risk assessment, and radon inspection. I'm also dealing with the expected level of buyer's remorse. My concern can be divided into 2 buckets. How dumb is it to move my pregnant wife into a house built in 1955 given the probability presence of lead? How dumb is it to pay $345,000 for a house that sold $309,000 literally 2 months ago? For what it's worth, we have a household income of $160,000 and $40K for a down payment. So I'm not particularly concerned about being able to afford the home. It's more of a matter of overpaying and missing out on potential appreciation. Also, maybe giving my future children brain damage through environmental toxicity. Don't love the thought of that either. Please give me some perspective here.
So, the question that started this whole thing is, how dumb are we being? Maybe not grammatically correct, but we'll just say for sake of argument that she is smart enough not to chew on the windowsills and the door frames where she might get lead poisoning.
You have to eat
from
the paint.
from the paint. So if she's smart enough not to eat the paint chips, then I'd say they have a pretty good chance of not causing any brain damage to their unborn children, or to her specifically. So I'm not really too worried about that. Curing lead-based paint is very common, very straightforward process. You scrape the paint, sand it down if you want, and then you repaint it. You just seal it, you cover it up. So
wear a respirator.
yes, wear your respirator and don't let the paint chips fall on the ground. You need to put like a drop cloth down to catch that, and then properly dispose of that. Don't just throw it in the trash. Okay?
Or eat them.
Yes, don't eat them either. Don't bake them in a cake or put them in your omelet.
What is it? You ever seen the TLC's My Strange Addiction? The lady that was addicted to eating paint chips or paint.
Oh, I think it was too late for her.
Oh yeah.
The damage had already occurred. So
it was already there.
That is one question where we don't have to ask which came first, the chicken or the egg. We know what happened.
Yeah.
So on this, when you're in a hot market and you have to put in an escalation clause like he did in order to get the contract, you feel like you're overpaying, and I think that he's wise to understand that he may be kicking himself for a little bit of buyer's remorse later. But if now is the right time for you to buy a house and it's worth it to you to pay the $345, even though she paid $309 2 months prior, if the market supports that and she's getting 9 other bids on there, the house is only worth what somebody's willing to pay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're in a hot market and 2 months later it's worth more because people are willing to pay more, it's up to you whether you want to engage in that game or not. Okay. So he engaged in the game and he played it well and he won.
Yeah.
So for those folks who have buyer's remorse after that, I have to say I don't have too much sympathy, because you played to win and you did.
Yeah.
Don't begrudge the decisions that you made to win. The appreciation will catch up.
Oh, yeah.
6 months from now, if the market still persists, you might be able to turn around and sell it for $395 now.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're the winner. And you'll be like, this is the best decision we ever made. But 6 months ago, you were like, oh, what did we do?
Yeah.
Why did we do this? We just gave her $30,000. Well, so?
You never know what's going to happen.
Right.
the market ebbs and flows consistently,
Right.
constantly.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a bad decision. The lead-based paint assessment, I think, is a little bit overkill, but I would not ever, if a client is concerned about that, I never tell them, don't do that, you shouldn't do that. I always tell them, if it's a concern for you, we should look into it. So I'm fine if he does that. But in a house that's 1950s, if you scrape a few layers down, you're going to find lead-based paint. It's going to happen. So for me personally, and I can only speak for me personally, I wouldn't do a lead-based paint assessment because I know it's there.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about having lead pipes. That would be a bigger concern for me than the lead-based paint.
Yeah.
But a lot of houses, and I don't know where they're located, but a lot of houses in the Midwest that were built in the 1950s use galvanized pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's not lead pipe, but is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. Does it degrade over time? Yes, it does. Should you get evaluated if you're concerned about it? Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're on city water, I think you have more problems with
Right.
pipes. Edit. Seller has provided the cover letter of the offer we beat out. It was a straight $345K offer. We won because we agreed to pay 0.5% of the broker's fee and have the cash available for a $20K appraisal gap.
Whew, snap.
You're paying what others have clearly valued it at too. Lead, maybe it's just me, but I live in an area with a lot of lead paint. This is a comment, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's an old home thing, looking for chipping lead such as on the window seals where babies might chew. The good news is that lead paint is easy, paint over it.
There you go.
The bad news is that you might want to give up the dream of restoring painted over wood. Lead paint in homes is normal depending on your market. Peeling paint is not. I would not be worried, but be educated. The dust and consumption is what matters, not its existence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably one of the smartest comments I've seen. I agree, we lived in our home that was built in the 50s for a long time. Our kids grew up here and they have no issues, just paint over the lead, that's it.
Yep.
I just don't understand why people are valuing it at much more highly than they did in March of this year. I also don't understand the house sold without us seeing it the first time around because we've been obsessively checking Zillow since January. This is, my wife calls me in the middle of the workday to tell me we should put in an offer without even touring it first, levels of perfect fit for us. We would have seen it if it was listed for sure. And that is from the original poster. They commented that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and this is a good point too. Remember, you also don't know the details of the previous sale. I'm assuming perhaps the previous seller was in a rush to sell or lowered the price after inspection, or who knows. I'm selling a house right now and our price has come down almost 50K after inspection and appraisal. 1 year ago, our home would have been worth 100K more.
Yep.
Have a thorough inspection, including sewer lines, and go from there. This is all valid.
Yeah.
And that's all the time we have for today.
Oh,
Yes, I know.
I was hoping that we could, well, maybe we could do it again.
Yes, that sounds like a good plan to me. This has so many that pop up, and I mean, here's the title of one here as well. Multiple buyer wire delays. Girlfriend bought a 3-family home, which turns out to be only a legal 2-family home. And then highest offer not accepted because we weren't physical therapists.
Wow, that sounds like a fair housing violation.
Oh, and a half. And then how much should my realtor be doing? That's
loaded question. Loaded question.
Very loaded. Open-ended too. I mean, come on. And so we've got plenty more to go through here. r/real estate's been great. This is Reddit Ask Real Estate, and we are the realest agents in real estate. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm Josiah Holstein with Realty One Group Grand, and this is
Lauren Winter, also with Realty One Group Grand, and this is Olive.
Yay!